Alright, so our valve body on our 73 FMX. That's going to have a hard time staying in there, so we'll go on. Oh yeah, just come flying out. And let's go ahead and put this one in. How we're going to start the day off. There we go. So these big springs are going to go in here. Our little valve is going to go here. Spring. And our pilot valve. This here is going to face this opening over here. Just like so. And then we got to get this back in here. Our plate. And we're going to leave all this loose until we get the whole valve body together. This will help if I turn the right direction. My brain is not working today. I already marked this bolt because it takes the flathead. That next section up. The little tips are going to face out. tips are going to face out again. And this is all going to have to be put in at the same time, because this is not going to stay in there. Well, I'm going to take all this back out. I forgot about that clip. That's going to take some work. And this was a little bit tight, so we may have to do some work on this one. Let me go ahead and drop those back out. Sometimes you can take something hard and flat and that will loosen up the valve. A little draggy. Get it over where it's dragging, and then do it, and other times it'll free it up. Alright. Still just a little draggy right there. Okay, put a little air coil on it. Let's see what that does for it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we're nice and free. And keep working it a little bit. Okay, blow this out. And then we're going to lube it up again, just for good measure. Still nice and free. Dropped all the way down by itself. Then we're going to drop our spring in. Yeah, let's see if we can get this down inside there. Alright, that looks like it's going to fit. So, our clip goes in with the big end. It's going to sit in here. These small ends are going to come out. They're going to go right over here. just like so. Alright. Throttle valve. Make sure we're up inside there. Alright. Now let's see if we can get this all together at one time. Yes, going to be a bit of a trick. Alright. Yeah, we got a check ball. $187 thousandths. Sit in that hole right there. And then our plate is going just like that. Two bolts over here. Said we're just going to leave that loose. It's where am I messing up? Oh, I got the wrong one. This sits on over here. Start that right there. Just leave our manual valve off for right now. Got this section here. It's our modulator valve. I'm going to make sure that this one's nice and free too. Sounds nice and good. Our plug goes in, it's held in by the bolt. Come on now. There we go. 1/4" ball. Make sure it is. I'm not telling you wrong. That 1/4" goes in right there. Our plate goes one like that. Our long bolt. Medium bolt. Did I get that wrong? Yep, got it wrong. Our long bolt goes over here. Medium bolt goes up here. And our 2 short ones. Got this section over here, short valve. Drops all the way in this valve. Spring, and this clip goes in with the lip facing this way. The spring's going to sit down in that little pocket. Alright, come on now. There we go. Alright, I believe this is a 1/4" ball. Yep. 1/4" ball. This valve goes in here. Come on, drop back down in there. Get this spring. Goes there. This short spring goes here. Then get this little ball, 187. Right there. And plate. (7/16) headed bolts. Phillips bolts. Oops. Straight head goes here. Phillips goes here. And the straight head goes here. Tighten up our 7/16. And we're just going to work our way around the valve body. Push down on the plate. Some traction on this screwdriver. If this plate's not near as important, just make sure it's kind of centered. Let's get ready to strip, I think. Yep. Have to find me a longer bolt for that one. May have to do some thread repair there. This plate here, we're going to make sure it's closer to the bottom here. If it touches against the plate, make sure it's against the plate. This is why we leave these loose. Keep it from interfering with keeping the valve body from going together. Like that one right there. We're going to put that flat up against the plate. Alright. Double check everything. Make sure everything is tight. Go over this a couple times just to make damn sure that everything is in there. And then our manual valve, that's it right there. If you want to see all the valve body configurations I could come up with for FMX Cruise-O-Matic, or whatever you want to call the thing, watch the Ford-O-Matic rebuild, and at the end of that video there is just a ton of information, and you're not going to probably find anywhere else, and it's got every valve body configuration I could come up with, as well as a bunch of other information, but it's worth a look at. Alright, 73 FMX. Yes, I know I already got an FMX video, but this one's up closer than the other one, so hopefully this will help you out. LS kit, that's a kit with clutches, modulator, pump bushing, reusing the filter because it's reusable as long as it's not ripped. You can clean it out and reuse it. Oh, and the front band. Here's the band. A couple things have happened since I've gotten some new stuff in from my suppliers. I got a guy that brings by bolts, and he suggested this stuff. I was looking for, my manager says he cannot find this stuff anywhere. It's everywhere I go, but he's too damn lazy. I can't get him to get it. So I've been trying to find something that's similar, and the guy that brings by my bolts, he said, oh, well, this is going to be it. And I said, no, it's not it. This here is good. This is about basically the same thing as this, and it's okay. It's fine. And then the people that supply this, they said, well, this is going to be the same. He originally brought me something else, and it wasn't good at all. Once it hit your fingers, and you started rubbing it, it kind of started gelling up, and I'm not going to put that in the valve body. I'm too afraid it's going to make my valves hang up. I want something that stays liquidy like this. This is some awesome stuff right here. This is somewhat similar. I'm going to give this a shot. I didn't do it on this valve body because it's a pain to get it on and off and to go through, so I'm not going to take a chance on this causing problems. So I'll try this out on something else. The thing we're going to do is our case. Out of our way. Wrong end. This here is a little bit of a pain to do. You want to do this now. You don't want to skip this and wait and try to do this in a vehicle, because it's bad enough trying to do it right here. Got a nut and a lock washer. Pull our actuator off. Pull this rod out. There's an O-ring right here we're going to need to replace. Hard as a rock. And there we go. You may want to clean this up a little bit if it's a little too bad. Just a little bit of sandpaper. You don't want to cut too deep. You don't want to scuff it up too rough. You want some really fine stuff. 7/8. this is spring loaded down in there, and it's going to come flying out, so watch your face. You know, catch it in the eye. There we go. Alright. This is what we got down in there. Got this detent and this spring. So we're going to leave our spring in there. And this baby heel bar I find works really well for this. See the seal, the difference between your two sides. This side's going to face in. Get your little grease and grease it up. Drive it in flush. Pay attention to which way your linkage was when you pulled it out. Should have showed you this. There's two flats right here. This linkage has got two flats on it that you're going to have to line up. And that's what's going to make this hard. While you're trying to get all that lined up, this is going to keep popping off. Oh, don't do it to me. Alright, got her lined up. Get her nut on there. Now you want to get this tight, but not so tight that it splits the end of those threads off of there. I've seen it happen. But you don't want to get it so loose that it will back off. There we go. Alright, you look in your kit, you got some O-rings that are similar. It's the fattest one that you can find in there. They also make this one and I've seen it put in there, but I've never seen it actually come in a vehicle. This fat O-ring goes right here, pops in there. There you got your flats again. Lock washer and then her nut. Helps you go the right way. Alright, we got our front band, we got this end here, we got this end here, this end here. It's going to sit right here, so we're going to put the band in this way. It's going to sit in there just like so. Push this off to the side. Go ahead and do our drums. Now that's all this rubber's really super hard, so we're going to have to more likely break all this rubber off, crack it in half to get it out of there. Here we go. It's so hard it just breaks. Just make sure we got it all out of there. And put our O-ring on. We want a lot of lube on here. Check ball in here, make sure it's nice and free. Got a flat lip seal. Now this may or may not go in easy. Found that some things that help is to get like a big hose clamp and put around this if you need to. Sometimes it'll go. The later ones have a more of a bevel to them and they're easier to get in. The earlier ones are more square cut and they're harder to get in. We got our ring here. There's a split in it. You want that split in between here. You put it on here, it'll crack this thing. got our hub, no washer here. This fiber washer goes on top. You can put a little lube to keep it kind of in place. It's going to float around anyway until you get your shaft in there. Alright, you got thick and thin clutches. The 60 thousandths go in the forwards, the 80 thousandths go in the directs. You get this plate goes on the bottom. Look right here, down at the bottom right here, there's a little ledge that this pressure plate's going to sit on top of. You want to be pretty dang close to the top of that right there. Flat snap ring. This washer. It doesn't matter which way it goes. You can leave your hub out, and you can reach in there and you can check your clearance with your finger, but you're going to have to know what it feels like pretty much. There are other ways to check it, but as long as you're really close to that ledge right there, within about 60-70 thousandths, you're probably going to be just fine. You do want to make sure that your hub still turns free. Use your output shaft, spline it in there, make sure it's turning. This one has lip seals. Make sure your check ball's nice and free again. Your lip's going to face up towards you on both seals. Here again, the more the bevel this thing has, the later model, the easier it is to get this piston in. There are different ways to get lip seals in. There are lip seal tools that fit around it. I use this. This is a snap-on drawer lock tool. This is what I've used most of the time. Worked really well for me. Some of your rebuild kits don't give you this lip wizard. It comes in Trans-Tech kits, and they work really well too, most of the time, especially when it's harder to get in there with this tool. Just stick it in there and run it around your lip and just kind of give a little downward pressure. And it should pop in there. Some are harder to get in than others. Sometimes you can give a little twist. If you can get it to twist, and it'll help seat it down in there. If it gets really difficult, like I say, what I'll do is I'll get a hose clamp and I'll put around the outside edge of that. I also got some seal installers from Seal-Ease for doing the 5L40s, and they're okay. There's still one on the 5L40 that you're going to have to put in the freezer. So what I'll do is I'll either put it in one of those seal sizers from there, or like I said, I'll get the hose clamp, I'll put around the outside of it, and then I'll go throw it in the freezer for a little bit and take it out, and then immediately take the hose clamp off and drop it in the drum, and usually it'll fall right in. If we got too much trouble here in just a couple minutes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sit here and fight this thing. I can feel it's right here where the lip seal is not going down in there, and it's giving me trouble right here in this area. Just almost in, but not quite. I'm going to be careful, because this thing here will cut the lip seals too. I mean, you can cut it with anything. You got to be careful with them. So this thing's still giving me fits. And you feel it's roughing up the edge of that lip seal there. Getting close to cutting it. Sometimes you can pack that full of grease right there. Give it a little squeeze in, and sometimes that'll help. Come on, get down in the groove. All right. Still giving me trouble. I'm going to do and see if this is big enough to go around it. I don't know that this is going to make it. No, not going to make it. So I'm either going to have to go find a bigger one, cones from seal ease. So what you do is you find the one where your piston fits in. And put your piston down in there. It pushes it in. Find the cone here. Fit in here. We may have to come in from the back side. So what I'm going to do is go. It's not going to stay. Doesn't really look like it's pushing on it. That one's not going to stay in there, but the inside is not as important to me right now as this outside. So this is going to stay in there. I'll go throw this in the freezer. Alright, let's go on to other things. And put a little bit of green grease in here. And we're going to put our needle bearings in there. Down in the groove, mash it down into there. We'll go ahead and change out our sealing rings for our governor. I got a hook and loop. So what you're going to do is you kind of push in and pull around with this side over here. Push in here, pull out, and it's going to pop that off. Try not to break your sealing rings in case you screw one up when you're assembling it. You got something that you can use and not have to buy a whole nother kit. And if you're new to this and you don't know how to tell what sealing ring is what you need to use, what you can always do is find the bore that it's going to fit down inside of. It's got the hook and loop, you can go ahead and put it together like so. But if it doesn't, and it's just flat like that, when you put it in the bore, you should just barely have a little gap. So we can put these in here. If they fit nice and snug like that, we're good to go. If it just drops down in there, it's not the right size and it's not going to seal properly. And if it's too big, it's not going to go in the bore. If it fits super snug, it's not going to be good for you. But as long as you got where it'll go up and down and not just fall in, you're good. So just kind of work it around side to side. Do the bottom one first, so you don't have to try to get over the other ones. The more you expand these, the more of a chance you run of breaking them. Same way down in here, you want to make sure that these fit properly. And hook them in, and stick them down into the deal. If you watch the Ford-O-Matic rebuild I did here recently, you'll see in there that they weren't fitting properly. I had to go make some for it. Alright, in the disassembly video I forgot to take this washer off. It fits with the lip up. That lip's gonna fit right in the back of this gear right here. These two right here we're gonna leave off till after we get the direct drum on, and then we'll put them back on, and then put the forward drum on. If you're going to break any, it's usually these right up here. Alright, now there we go. Let's change this back here. Put them on, you just push in, kind of pull out, and it's going to push it up, and then you just push it in. go ahead and put some grease on here. Keep that spot. Make sure our sprag has all the rollers in it. They didn't fall out. You can see how the teeth are angled. Fit in there. Believe me, you wouldn't think it could happen, but people find a way to put this in backwards. It's just amazing to me the work people will put into doing something wrong, because it's got to take a lot of effort to put that in backwards. Be careful pushing in on this. You pop your rollers out. There we go. We're sitting down in there. We got our bearing. Just go down in there. It's got these little cutouts right here that'll go around the pinion right there. It sits down in that pocket. There's my other washer. And this washer here. A little green on there. Sit on there. Now sometimes you can put this planet in with the center support in there. Sometimes it doesn't work. We're going to give it a shot and see if we can get it in there. But, well, first off, let's see if we can get around our band. These hard bands like this, yeah, it's not going to fit. On these hard bands like this, if it's not cracked, you can take some 220, 280 sandpaper and just hit it, you know, lightly and take the glaze off of there. So we're going to have to leave this off. Go over to the foot press, arbor press, and press this bushing in. Might as well mention, right? And let's find it. Some of them have it, some don't. Depends on whose bushing you got. Okay, this looks like it's a solid bushing. If you have a bushing that is put together with a seam, you'll probably look at this one and see that if it has it. But anyway, if you have a bushing that has a seam where it's put together, you do not want the seam right here or where you stake it, so put it over here somewhere. Some of the older ones, the gear sits down in here, so you have to have the bushing down far enough to have the tip of the gear sit down inside there. But we want this below that bevel right there. You can see how we're covering up a lot of this drain back hole. I'm going to go in here with the die grinder. I'm going to cut me a little notch right. There we go. It's good enough. And take a round file and knock the burrs off of here, and then go try it on your converter hub and make sure it fits. put a little bit of 3M weather strip adhesive around here. We'll press the little triangle faces up. This gear is really not as important. I've seen them both ways. This one has to face down. This little bevel has to face down. You put it in this way, converter is going to take and shove the gear up into the back of the stator there. So this helps the converter go into the gear, also keeps it from shoving it into the stator. Bevel here goes right there. This flat screw goes right here. Alright, our servo. Now you're going to get several different O-rings for your servo. It all depends on which one you got as to which ones you're going to use. Several different sizes. So we got a flat one here. You're going to find the one that, see how that fits loose, that's not right. There we go. See, that's nice and snug, but still sticks up. You got to have enough that it's going to have resistance going into here. If it just drops into there, it's not the right one. See if we can do this without stabbing ourselves. Once this rubber starts getting hard, these start getting hard to get off. See, it's not hard enough to break, but it's not pliable enough to get off. There we go. I'm going to cut it in half. And try not to let anybody bug you while you're doing that. I was doing that one time and turned my head to talk to somebody, and it slipped off of there, and the scribe went in right here, and it went in all the way up to there, and it hurt like a son of a bitch. Alright, now we got troubles, and this is why I don't like Toledo kits. The crap don't fit right. May have to go searching. Alright, that one looks like it fits. That's too loose. Actually, I got the wrong Should have an O-ring. I don't know why I was doing that. Brain fart. There we go. That ought to work. Okay. Alright, I got this spring here. It is 1 9/74, 902, 119. Goes in the end right there. I'm going to lube this up. And put our cap on the back. Lube that up. This goes in this way. With this snap ring here. Sometimes you can get it in by hand, sometimes you're going to need a pair of pliers. There we go. And we're going to have to adjust this. Alright, I guess we shall see if it's been long enough on our piston. It said you want to do this fairly quickly. There. Looks like it went all the way down. Alright, we got our return spring, we got our retainer, we got, look, there's two snap rings that are pretty dang close to each other. The thicker one goes on here. Now I forgot to show you. Anybody who's been watching my videos knows, but if you look on the tip of those snap rings, there's a taper to them. You want the taper up. There's also two flats right here. You don't want the opening of that snap ring right there. You move it over away from it. You got these two flats on this metal washer. Sit down on there. And this washer goes on top. Go ahead and put our clutches in, I guess. We got our wavy plate and then our steels. Remembering that these are the thicker clutches. And again, we're right at the bottom of that lip down there. Put our flat snap ring in and our clearance about right. Alright, now we're going to put our shaft in. Getting nice and good. Now we can put our other sealing rings on. Oh, they gave plastic ones for this one. We'll see how they seal. So these sealing rings, they got rid of the factory ones. Have the hook and loop like that. These, they just go together like so. we go. Now we can put our forward drum on top. There we go. Now we can air check this. The forward drum air checks through the back. The direct drum. She's got 2 holes. Yep, so we're going to plug 1 hole with our finger. And we're applying, so we're good there. We'll put this up and get it out of the way. In case anybody's wondering, here's what they are. There's the part number 19222. Made by LubeGuard. They make some, I don't have any of it anymore. They make some spray. Basically all it is Freon that you spray. Once you put the piston down into the retainer, you spray it. It's supposed to freeze it in place. And then you can take the retainer off. It's supposed to save you time. And it works somewhat. But like I say, on that 5L40, there's that one piston in the center support. I don't care what you do, you're not going to get that thing in there. You can freeze it all damn day long. Until you stick it in the freezer overnight, it's not going to go in. Bring our transmission in here. We're going to take this whole assembly. Yep. Pulled my drum right off. Yeah. Just back down on there. Alright, we'll take our whole assembly. Shove that up into there. Alright, now we got our center support. This end's going to face towards the back. Does not matter which one of these you line up, it has to line up with all 3 holes. So we're going to go ahead and stick this in there. Sometimes you might want to put a little lube on it, help it slide easier. Sometimes they slide right up in there, sometimes they don't. Remember, it was pretty tight coming out. I'm off just a little bit. Let's see if we can get this back out before I get too far into there. Maybe I can get it to turn. There we go. Take the bolt that goes for the servo that has a little tip on it, just run it down into there. These little star washers, these are the 2 that go from the outside. Just make sure that they all 3 are going into the holes, and then it's lined up. A little too far. how far off I am. I'm off just a little bit somewhere. And gimmick. And we got that one lined up. That one lined up. Alright, looks like we're all lined up now. Now we can put our bands in. Does not matter which way it goes. You're going to put it up around here and just compress it down, pop it up into place. Like so. Take our planetary. There we go. Now we can take our output shaft. Go. Yeah, use Permatex gasket sealer. Make damn sure you're ready to do this, because once you bolt it together, you try to take it back apart, you're more than likely going to rip your gasket. Alright, you want the gasket that has this right here. You got your bearing. And you're going to have to slide this over your governor rings and then make these tubes go into the holes right here. So don't go forcing it, you want it to go nice and easy. Alright, what I'm going to do now is put this other gasket on, bolt the tail housing down. It's nothing really you need this. Oh, I got to do the governor, so you guys see that. Let me get that done. And we'll do the tail housing. Turn that up to where the ball goes. It's a 1/4 inch ball. And we got our weight, the holes. Go towards the front. No. Quit being difficult. Alright, the dinner snap ring that we had, taper goes out towards us. These bolts right here you don't have to take out unless this is really nasty and you want to get down in there and clean all that crap out of there, and just make sure it's tight. And we're going to lube this up nice and good. I got somebody put a spring on here to help keep it from sticking. I don't know that we need it. Let's see how free this is. I don't think we need it. I don't want to take, sometimes this will make them jam the other direction, so I'm going to take that spring off. I don't think we need it. We're really nice and free. We got the little tips face up. This little valve sits inside that. We're nice and good. We got our feed holes towards the front, our little plate towards the front. Phillips. Now the output shafts on the speedometers back here have different tooth counts. If you have to replace it, you're going to want to count your teeth, otherwise your speedometer is going to be off. Alright, now I'm going to slide this back here. I'm going to put my tail housing on. I don't think you need to see that. Now what we're going to do, put our servos in. I guess first we need to rebuild our rear servo. I'm going to take this and lube this up. Depending on what year you have as to how this is set up. Go ahead and lube this up. Some of the earlier ones have a piston that sits down in here. It floats back and forth freely, so it goes together a little bit different, and you have to be careful when you're moving this thing around, because that piston will slide out and it'll get jammed, and then you're going to have to take it all the way back apart, put it back together. I got a return spring. If you'll notice, some of these have a little line-up tab, and this one does not. But if it has a line-up tab, it has to line up right there. So our spring's going to go in here, our retainer, and our snap ring. So sometimes it's easier to put this in a foot press, especially if you have the line-up tab and you're having to worry about that. Hold it all together, or you can use two people. Alright, some of these have, the earlier ones have needle bearings in here that you're going to have to line up, and then also some of these have a metal washer on each side that you're going to have to line up. We've got our hole for our pin, so we've got to line that up. Once that's all lined up, we can drive that back through. This anchor that goes on the bottom and the adjustment down here. The little tab of the band is going to fit right in there, just like so. And pull this back out. Oh, before we put this servo in, we got to put our tube back in. This little tube, it fits in right down in here. Gotten a little bent. Come on now. Be nice to me. There we go. Alright, I believe it's all the way down. We'll see when we get ready for this servo. Alright, on the servo, the top one's going to fit in that groove again. I'm going to put some grease to hold our strut on here. Like so. I'm going to slide that down onto there. Get on our lineup pin, our bolt back in. We got our other 5/8 that goes up here. Alright. Go ahead and tighten this down. Adjustment. Looks like it's going to be pretty good. Our output shaft turns okay. I think that'll be just fine. Now, we got this anchor pin, goes up top here. It's going to go this way. Our band goes in that spot again. We're going to have to hold this up a little bit
down that training for them?
Which one?
It's one from McKinney. Their builders on vacation. Vacate. When's your vacation? Next month?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm gonna be on the same boat. I'm gonna be having the same fucking trainers everywhere. Oh, and then you can put whenever you
Pull our band up, put our strut down inside there, and we're going to put our bolts in, and we're just going to leave them loose. Yep.
Did Marty tell you anything about that old 93 Ford?
Yes.
What's going on with it?
Oh, gotta have it open.
Have a what?
Gotta open it.
Oh, you gotta remove the training?
So you want me to do yours or you want me to do theirs?
Oh, okay.
Alright. We got the tube. It goes around here. Just like so. This tube goes here. Alright, when we're putting the valve body on, we got to line up the manual valve, this part of the manual valve on here. We got to move this valve back and put it inside of here, and we got to line these two tubes up onto here. So we're going to start it down onto here. Move our valve back. Move our manual valve up. There we go. Valve body bolts are 7/16. This little valve down here has this little bracket. Valve, this little bolt down here. We'll tighten our valve body down. 9/16 on our servo. Alright, our adjustment here is way loose. I mean way loose. So 9/16 on here. Wasn't even tight. Oh, great. Our adjustment bolt is broke. Oh, that puts a wrinkle in things. Let me go figure out how I'm going to fix this. Alright, what I did is got a 3/8/16 1.5 bolt that had a shoulder on it here, so I threaded it down some more because it wasn't quite long enough. That's about where I like my bands on these, so I'm going to tighten that down there. I think this should be just fine. Shouldn't be in the way. Alright, our accumulator, regulator body. Different ones for different years. We've got our valves here. Earlier ones have a spring and a flapper valve that goes back behind there. Phillips screwdriver or head screws. All right. With these two 7/16 bolts. Okay. Now, this clip, it's going to sit on there like so. And this deal sits on the bottom here. The spacer goes in this spring. We're just going to pop this on here. Clip that on the top. Make sure everything's working good here. We got this tube goes in right down here. Right over here. Actually, this goes in like so. And we got this tube goes in. And there and up here. See it. Don't want to bend it. Filter's going to go in here. Tube's going to go in here. It's going to hook around right there over the filter and pop in right there. Alright, next is our pan. You put a little silicone on this side if you want to. Usually the pans are a little bent, so it doesn't hurt to put some on there. Just take your pan, set it on an edge, and especially where the bolt holes are. Kind of beat that down. Usually people over tighten them. It causes the pan to dimple up. You see how Ford pan bolts barely have a flange on the head of the bolt here? If you try to use a Chevy bolt that has a bigger flange, it's going to come in the side of the pan right here and it's going to cut it and it'll leak and you'll never make it quit leaking. So I think it's Sonex now offers the pan bolts for them. Okay, so I'm going to put the rear seal in. Always save all your stuff, as far as I'm concerned, until the car is gone, at least for a day, and then you can do what you need to do. Now this modulator pin that was in here, I'm assuming it's right, and we'll find out when the modulator gets here and you think you understand what I mean to do. The one that's in here is 2 inches 865 thousandths. So if anything changes off of that, I'll put it in the description of which one it needed. And other than that, we are done with this unit. Oh, this is your filler tube O-ring. And I guess after that, we are done. Pump O-ring, set it up inside there. Your openings, face right there. Pump bolts 1/2 inch. Bell housing. That way. 5/8. Your rear band adjustment nut right here. Make sure center support is tight. 9/16. Usually there's a little bracket right here that holds this tube. This is your vent. Somebody has gotten rid of it. Alright, so on our modulator, let's turn this around. Alright, modulator has a gasket that goes on the back of it. This pin goes in there and pushes on that valve, on the valve body. We need to make sure we got the right one. Now, Tech Pack makes this to check your modulator pins. It's a T-0162MP. It's a little kit and give you some extra pins to grind down to the length that you need. And they give you this little tool, and it's a sliding gauge, basically. Split down the center, and it's basically just a piece of metal. And you put this in there, and you screw your modulator down, or you bolt it down, whichever type you have. And this will push in to the length that you need. You pull this back out, you measure it, and you can find out if your pin is right. Now, if you'll notice that this pin is longer than the tool that they give. So what I did is I got these nails that come in the governor gear kits for 400s and 4L60s, and I put that in there. That makes this long enough, barely, that I should be able to use this as a gauge. So I'm going to stick this up inside here where the valve goes, being careful not to push against it so my adjustment changes. I'll put my modulator on here. Well, they gave me the wrong modulator. What did they give me one for? Kind of looks like a 180. So this is wrong. So I gotta get the right modulator, but you get the idea. I'm gonna screw this down, take it back out, and then I'll be able to measure how long this is, and I'll know if this pin is correct. Alright, the modulator pin that was in this unit was 2 inches 865 thousandths. So we'll find out if that was the right one or not. If it was not, I'm going to put it down in the description, but I have a feeling it's okay.